Bulldog fans, and welcome into the Bulldog Blitz. I'm your host, Mark Minner. Coming up on the show today, there are only 2 more games for the Butler men's basketball team, who's heating up. The women's basketball team will play their senior day this Saturday. We will get to hear from the seniors. We'll have round 2 of the Blitz Breakdown segment, and finally, we'll be joined in studio by Maurice Stewart, the head coach of the Butler swimming team. A lot to get to, but up first, with just a pair of games left, this Saturday's game against UIC is a must-win if Butler wants one of the top 2 seeds in the Horizon League. Before we get to the standings, let's talk about the last game. On Tuesday night, the Bulldogs traveled up north to take on the Green Bay Phoenix. It was a game that would come down to the wire, but thanks in part to a Matt Howard slam dunk, Butler was able to win by 2, 64-62. Even though Green Bay jumped out to an early lead, Butler led by 6 at the half and would not trail in the second. Matt Howard was the story of the night, finishing with 22 points, 3 triples. He also tied Butler team-high 8 rebounds. Shelvin Mack had 13 points on 4 of 9 from the field, with 2 from downtown. Then you have Andrew Smith adding 7 points, 8 rebounds, and Sean Van Zant had 12 points, 5 boards, and a pair of steals in 28 minutes out on the court. Butler shot 43% from the field and held Green Bay to just 38%. Rebounding was a question coming into the contest, and the Bulldogs ended up taking the advantage 32-29. With the win, Butler now on a 5-game winning streak, heading into the matchup with UIC on Saturday. That game can be seen here in Indianapolis on My Indy Channel 23 as the Horizon League Game of the Week. It can also be heard on 1070 AM The Fan in Indianapolis. Game time slated for 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's take a look now at those men's basketball standings as they are currently. Cleveland State atop the league right now. 12-4 is the record. Valparaiso at 11-4. Butler right behind at 11-5, tied with Milwaukee for 3rd place. Then you've got Wright State in 5th at 10-7. Detroit 9-8. Green Bay 6-9 after a loss there, but Green Bay will be crucial for Butler going up against Cleveland State. Loyola 6-10, and then Youngstown State and UIC at 2-14. Again, the Flames will take on the Bulldogs this Saturday. But again, at the top, you have that Cleveland State, Valpo are those 2 teams in front of Butler right now. Saturday afternoon, it's senior day for the women's basketball team when they take on the Loyola Ramblers. On Thursday night, the women hosted the UIC Flames after dropping 4 of their last 6 games. This one, however, would not be close. Butler jumped out of the gate to build up a 14-4 lead early, and it would never get closer than that. Bulldogs had a 48-28 lead and 10 3-pointers at the half. Bulldogs went on to win 78-57 over the Flames. Senior Alyssa Pittman had an outstanding line with 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. Chloe Hamilton had 18 points, 7 boards, and the last Butler player in double figures was Brittany Bowen with 12 points and 6 rebounds. Butler shot 56% from the field, while defensively they held UIC to 34% shooting. The Dogs also finished with 12 3-pointers, 2 shy of their previous best, 14, set a little over a month ago against Youngstown State. And then you take a look at the standings right now for the women's basketball side. You've got Green Bay atop the league at 13-0 in conference play, 24-1 overall. This team ranked in the top 15 in the polls nationally. Butler right behind at 9-4. Then you've got Wright State, who got a victory as well at 8-4. So Wright State just a half game back of Butler for second. Cleveland State at 7-6. UIC follows that at 6-6. Milwaukee 6-7, who the Bulldogs will play on the road, one of their last 3 games. Loyola, Detroit, Valpo, and Youngstown State rounding things out at the bottom. But again, the next couple of games for the Bulldogs, you've got Loyola, then you've got Milwaukee, Green Bay, and Valparaiso, those last 3 all on the road. Well, we had mentioned it earlier, but this Saturday is senior day for the women's basketball team, and that means it's going to be a big game both on the court and off the court for the seniors of this year's team. For more on Senior Day, here's Blitz's Justin Dice.
This Saturday will be Senior Day at Hinkle Fieldhouse for the women's basketball team. The Butler's 5 seniors will be honored as the team takes on the Loyola Ramblers. The seniors Alyssa Pittman, Brittany Bowen, Chloe Hamilton, Asia Bass, and Tara Burns have been the foundation of this year's team, accounting for a collective 53.1 points of the 68.7 that the team is averaging. Saturday's game is an important one for the league standings, but the Bulldogs' final home game holds a special meaning for the team seniors.
It's so important. I mean, there's no words to explain it. I mean, coming up when I saw my other seniors and they're like, just wait till you get there, you're going to understand. And just now it's there. It's weird. It's blown by so much, and now I'm the senior on that senior night. It's like I said, it's special. There's like really no words. It probably won't even hit me until after the game's over, honestly. I might cry. I don't even cry. But It's going to be an emotional day.
It's really special. I mean, there's 5 of us. I mean, one of them can't play, so I think all 4 of us are going to play even extra hard just for her. It flew by. I can't even believe that it's senior day. I think everybody's going to come out and play really hard. And it's sad, but I mean, it's life.
Coach Kuchar has seen these players through all their years at Butler and knows how important this group has been to the success of the program.
It'll be a bittersweet day, because we got 5 seniors, and these kids have really carried our program to 20 wins for the last 3 years. But I think the things that stick out to me is the 30-point performances. We've had great performances individually by Chloe, by Bree, and by Pitt. But then tonight there's a memory for me to watch those 3 kids congratulate each other and want to pass the ball to each other and be excited for each other. The competition for individual play and individual accolades are gone. You can just see that. And the way they're just like everything with Asia in there, they're just really competing to win right now. And everything else doesn't matter. And that to me shows a true senior, and I'm really proud of them.
The Bulldogs will take on the Loyola Ramblers this Saturday at 2 p.m. in Hinkle Fieldhouse. For the Bulldog Blitz, I'm Justin Dice.
Time now for some news and notes around the Butler Athletic Department. There's a new position in the athletic department, and the job belongs now to Hall of Fame player and coach Bill Lynch. The new position is the Associate Athletic Director of Development. Bill was an honorable All-American mention quarterback for 3 seasons at Butler University in the mid-'70s. He coached football at Butler, Ball State, DePaul, and Indiana from 2007 to 2010. Bill was inducted into the Indiana Football Hall of Fame in 2005 and will begin his work March 1st. His role in the department will be to work with Athletic Director Barry Collier on strategy and solicitation of gifts to support the athletic department. The numbers are in, and the verdict is that Butler has the highest number of student athletes on the 2010 Fall Academic All-Horizon League team. The Bulldogs had 4 men's soccer players, 4 runners for the cross-country team, as well as a pair of volleyball players and 1 member of the women's soccer team. The next highest on that list was Valparaiso with 9 and the Cleveland State Vikings with 8. Also, one last note, Katie Clark, a sophomore member of the cross-country team, is now a proud member of the 2010 Division I All-Academic Cross-Country team. Clark has been a first-team All-League selection twice and runner-up twice in the Horizon League Cross-Country Championships. It should be noted that Clark also manages to have a GPA of 3.938. Very impressive. When we come back, we will have your Blitz Breakdown. Lance Rinker and Alyssa Garfinkel will join me in studio. Stay with us right here on the Bulldog Blitz. Welcome back onto the Bulldog Blitz. It's time now for our Blitz Breakdown segment. We are joined now by Lance Rinker and Alyssa Garfinkel. Lance Rinker is the assistant sports editor for the Butler Collegian, and Alyssa is the multimedia editor. Delighted to have both of you with us on this Blitz Breakdown.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Lance making his debut with the Blitz this season. Lance, we'll start with you on this topic of the Horizon League. We're talking about a very stacked top of the league. You've got Valparaiso, Cleveland State, Butler, and Milwaukee all fighting at those top 4 spots. Lance, how do you see this one playing out?
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I don't see Butler as a top 3 team. I think on paper it's a pretty good representation of the standings. Valparaiso, I would put number 1. They're an offense that can really go with anyone, score at will almost. Cleveland State, tough team led by Norris Cole, a potential NBA prospect. And Milwaukee, who beat Butler twice. So I just can't move Butler ahead of Milwaukee. And you can make the argument that you can move Butler in place of Cleveland State. Butler swept them this season, but the record and Butler's lack of consistency really doesn't allow me to do that. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Lance on this one. I think it's we've seen them struggle here and there and not play as well as they should at times. And with mapping out, they still won, but at the same time, you have these teams that they did lose twice to Milwaukee, and they're going to have to pick it up. It's not about, they can't host anymore. They're not going to be in first. We can see that. And they're not going to end up in second. Nor, we can't see it playing out that way. So what they're going to have to do is just keep looking forward, work on this weekend and for the Horizon Tournament and win so they can get to play in the NCAA tournament.
Now, if you think where the location then of the tournament would be held, if you're talking if it's in Valparaiso, if it's in Cleveland State, where does the favor the Bulldogs? I would have to imagine it'd be Cleveland State, where they seem to play a lot better than the Arc.
Yeah, I would think so too. A win there this season, and Valpo, of course, beat Butler at Valparaiso. So in terms of location, Cleveland State, I think you're right about that. But I think the tournament really is up for grabs. Any team can make a run. Earlier in the season, Milwaukee was at 500, and they were playing really great basketball. So it's really tough to tell how that's going to play out.
All right, Alyssa, now we're switching gears. We're talking, they're giving us 2 buzzers now. We're going over time. Ron Norrid, and there's been a little bit of controversy in the last week or so. Ron Norrid, does he start, does he not start? He's come off the bench the last couple games, still seen 20 to 30 minutes, played a different little role, but we're used to seeing Ron in the starting lineup. What do you think? Should he be out there?
You know, for me, it's hard to not see him starting in that position right now. So I'm gonna have to say that I feel like he needs to be out there. I think he's a different player coming off the bench. He is still getting a lot of minutes, but you don't see him producing as much as he used to. You know, he has been struggling. That's why he's sitting on the bench now. He's playing a different role and coming off, but at the same time, he's not producing as well as he was in the past.
Lance, what do you think?
I'm going to take the other side on this one. I think you're right about him coming off the bench. He is a different player, but I think what he offers most is heart, and he can be that spark off the bench. The lineup right now with the 2 bigs, Smith and Howard, really offers the inside-out game. Butler likes to shoot a lot of threes, and it's no secret you can set up those open looks going inside out. And Chase Stegall has proven that he can knock down those shots, something that Norrid wasn't able to do. So I'm all right with it.
So you see Stegall as the player then to watch in that scenario. Alyssa, who do you think has to step up with Ron out of the starting lineup? Is it Van Zandt? Is it Hans got to play more minutes? Are you looking maybe down low? Maybe Andrew Smith's going to see a lot more touches down in the paint.
I think, since, Ronald is definitely a great ball handler, you're going to have to look for something like that. He produces plays. He makes big plays, and you're going to have either Sean Van Zandt or Zach Hahn that's going to have to step up and make those when Ronald is out of the game.
And Lance, and you said Chase Stegall is kind of your go-to in that scenario, but who else has to kind of carry the burden without Ron out?
I think Andrew Smith a little bit, being able to spread the floor. He and Stegall spreading the floor, and be able to make threes. But, I mean, Norrid's still going to get significant minutes. These 2 games that he came off the bench, I think he got 23 and 21 respectively. So it's not a big deal minutes-wise.
All right, now we move to UIC, and we talk about 2 more league games for the Bulldogs. You got UIC, then Senior Day against Loyola next Saturday. But this Flames team, anytime you're on the road in the Horizon League, it's going to be tough. So we talk about this game on Saturday. What do you think is going to happen? Who wins? By how much? And what's the reason? Lance?
Well, Robo Krebs is the X factor for me.
You love saying that name.
Yeah. It's not just a great name, but he's an awesome player. He lit up the Bulldogs last time, and I really don't see that changing. It's at UIC. I see the Flames winning 63-60.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Calling the Flames.
I'm going to go the opposite. I see Butler pulling this one out, but it is going to be a tough game. They're going to have to play well. They're going to have to play on their game. They're going to have to work it into the post and try and, be big against them. But I see Butler coming out. They won last time by a pretty decent amount. I think it's 6 or 7 points last game. So I think we're going to see a 75-70 close game, but Butler's going to pull it out.
And what do you think, and Alyssa, who do you think is going to be the go-to person in this game? Is Matt Howard going to have to carry some burden for this team like he has? You talk about that Green Bay game. It was all Matt Howard all the time.
Right, and I think it's definitely going to have to be Matt Howard again. I think we're going to have to see some guards here and there, but Matt Howard, can he play big against UIC, against a big team like this? Can he play and step up? But also, you got to bring it into Kyle Marshall. He is a big factor for them right now. He's going to have to step it up when it comes to the Horizon League tournament. Matt can't do everything. His fuel is going to burn out eventually.
Okay, we'll switch pace now, move to women's basketball. And they get a big victory over UIC here at Hinkle Fieldhouse just on Thursday night. But you look at the league and the way it plays out, Green Bay, what can you say about that team? 24-1 on the season, top 15 pick nationally. So they've kind of secured that 1 seed. But now you're in a fight for the 2 seed. You got Butler and Wright State trailing right behind. Who do you think is going to come away with that number 2 spot? Lance?
I think Butler's going to hold on to it. They're a game and a half up on Wright State right now, and they've got 4 games left. Really, I only see them losing 1 at Green Bay, but that's no surprise to anyone. So I think they should be fine to hold on to that number 2 seed.
I definitely agree. I think they've been playing well. We saw, last night at the game, they were very offensively, shots were falling. They played great team defense. They were playing well together. You saw Bowen, Hamilton, and Alyssa Pittman, who has been stepping up lately for them, all in double digits. So I think they're where they need to be. They're going to hang on to that 2nd place.
And it's been interesting to me, Alyssa, that you look at the dynamic of this team, and you saw that at the beginning of the year, it seemed like everybody was going to Brittany Bowen all the time, and Brittany Bowen had to have these big career-high kind of style games, and then you see Chloe Hamilton, and now you see Alyssa Pittman step up. It seems like they're starting to diversify the scoring, and it seems like anybody can step up at any time.
Right, and that's exactly what you want in any sport. You want numerous players in double digits, or even just in in the 9s or 10s. You want those players up there. So I think it's something great that the women's basketball team has definitely started to bring out other players and not just depend on one.
And Lance, who do you think's got to be that go-to player then for the women's basketball team? Is it your standard Brittany Bowen answer?
I think Bowen and Hamilton obviously are the cliche answers, but offensively they're the two most threatening options for the Bulldogs. But I know Stephen mentioned Claire Freeman, her running the point. I think that's going to be a big factor too down the stretch.
It'll be interesting to see, and they have a tough stretch of 3 games coming up after that. You've got Green Bay, Milwaukee, and Valparaiso to round out your last 3 on the road. But finally, we will end now with our toss-up selection. Last week, Alyssa wanted to know about Gordon Hayward. Stephen wanted to know about baseball team. Alyssa, what is your toss-up for this week?
I want to know about the softball team. They have not been able to step on a field yet. So now they're traveling down to Mississippi State, who is a great SEC team. Are they going to be able to be successful if they haven't been able to step on a field?
And
that'll be an interesting question. Lance, what do you think? Is this softball team going to be able to do some damage down in Mississippi?
I think that'll be interesting too. That's a really long trip. It's a four-day trip, 3 or 4 day trip. So that'll be a good test for them to start the year. But for me, nothing that's really grinding my gears. But the addition of Bill Lynch to the athletic department. He coached at Ball State as I was growing up near Muncie. So I was a big supporter of him, and I think it was a good hire. I think it'll have a really positive impact.
And that's going to be an interesting thing to see, the transformation of this athletic department as Butler starts to grow, feeding off that national championship appearance. Bill Lynch, definitely a good hire for the Bulldogs as well. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for joining us this week on the Blitz Breakdown. Great job, as always. That will do it for this week's episode of the Blitz Breakdown, but a lot more to come on the Bulldog Blitz. Stay with us, including a preview of what's to come this weekend. Welcome back on to the Bulldog Blitz. We are joined now by the head coach of the women's swimming team, Maurice Stewart. Thank you very much for joining us, Coach.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, let's start here. You've had a little bit of time off since you last had your meet. That was at Rose-Hulman back in early February. Had some time to prepare. You've got the Horizon League Championship coming up, but let's start first by going back to that Rose-Hulman meet. Kind of take me through. You got the win, probably a little bit of momentum now heading off to this championship.
Absolutely. It was a good meet for us, a good last preparation meet going into our conference championship. It was a good opportunity for our ladies to kind of work out the remaining kinks, and going into the conference championship. And I think it's going to set us up well for a very successful championship starting next Wednesday.
Let's talk about that. Next Wednesday, it's going to be up in Cleveland, Ohio. You know, this whole season kind of comes down to this as a defining moment here. Do you feel like the team's ready, and what kind of stuff are you going to expect?
I do. I think, our ladies have, having such a young team, I think they have cohesed very well. They've bonded well as a team, and I think they're going to be well prepared with the training that we have done over the course of the season to come into that championship and really have some lifetime bests and really solid performances. And the expectation is going to be, race well, have confidence, and above all, have fun with the meet, which will tie into that success overall for our championship.
You talk about the training that transpires over a season. What would you say the biggest point of emphasis has been for this team in terms of skills?
The main thing that we have worked on is, within the training has been focusing on a lot of the fundamentals, stroke length, body position. We've been doing a lot of work with kicking, and trying to develop the ladies, endurance, kicking speed, endurance, and over the past, the last half of the season, really been focusing and emphasizing a lot on racing through our turns, and also working on relay exchanges, individual starts, and kind of fine-tuning that and really refining our strokes and technical areas that's going to come into play in this championship meet.
Well, you talk about it, you alluded to it a little bit earlier on, but the sheer number of freshmen on this team, I think it's all but 3 are freshmen on this year's squad. How's that dynamic been? It's got to be a steep learning curve. You're coming to Butler for the first time.
Yeah, it's it's been very exciting, and I think this is probably the best squad that we've had with the women's team in the 4 years. Being the 4th year of the women's team, and to my surprise, they have bonded and very well as a team. They do a lot of things together outside the pool. I also think that it's going to, it's going to play a big part in how they come together in this championship meet. And really excited to have been a part of it this year, and I think it's going to be a good end to our season.
One thing that always interests me, and it's kind of confusing, and some people around Butler don't really know exactly what happens, but the practice schedule and the facilities here, it makes it tough. You don't have that location that you can go to host those meets. So can you kind of take the viewers through what has to happen? A lot of logistical things.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I do want to say that the Health and Recreation Center have been very accommodating. Allowing our team to use the training pool. It does definitely poses its challenges as far as limited lane space, and as we continue to grow as a team, will potentially become more of an issue, but that's something that we will, we'll take that as we go. But as far as, the only other component is not being able to host,
Right.
home meets. And we are fortunate to be in Indianapolis, where there is a lot of water. The IUPUI Natatorium, where we do we have a lot of our kind of in-town away meets. We do our home meets at Fishers High School, and have also been at the North Central High School, which are both 10-lane, 50-meter facilities, and fairly new and state-of-the-art pools.
I know they say we've got to go here real quick, but I wanted to mention one thing because it's very impressive, is the academic side of the student athletes that you have in your program. Last year, you had a 3.308 GPA as a team, and from what you just told me, this fall it was even better than that.
Yes, I was extremely happy with how our team performed in the classroom, and that is something that I have placed a high emphasis and priority on right from the beginning. That if you perform well in the classroom, it's going to allow you to have a better balance and achieve that success in the pool as well. And the College Swimming Coaches Association of America just came out with the Division I rankings, and we ranked in the top 15 of Division I schools with a 3.46 in the fall, which was extremely impressive, and extremely happy and pleased with how our girls performed in the classroom.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us on the Bulldog Blitz this day, and good luck in your Horizon League tournament. We expect good things from you.
All right, thank you.
And with a lot of freshmen, I know you got a good season coming back next year as well. So
yeah.
Just
definitely
continues to build. That's right.
That's right.
All right, thank you so much, Coach, for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, that'll do it for our conversation with Maurice Stewart, head coach of the Butler swimming team. When we come back, a lot more to talk about on the Bulldog Blitz. Stay with us. This weekend, the men's basketball team will continue the battle near the top of the Horizon League when they travel to the Windy City to take on the UIC Flames at 2 p.m. That game can be seen on My Indy Channel 23. At the same time, back in Indianapolis, the women's basketball team will have their senior day inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. If you can't make it out to that game, it can be seen on horizonleague.com. Then Sunday, the men's tennis team will host Toledo at 2 p.m. inside the Butler bubble. Well, that will do it for this week's episode of the Bulldog Blitz. Make sure to catch us on Hoosier TV or online at youtube.com/Bulldog Blitz Sports. Until then, I'm Mark Minner. We'll see you right back here on the Bulldog Blitz.